Hi, this is Abdul Karim from Khaleej Times, and in this KT One-on-One series, we're speaking to the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. He served 2 5-year terms at the top of the United Nations. He's here in the country to speak to the students at the GEMS World Academy during the Model United Nations. Now, it is certainly a very difficult time for the young ones to be growing up. We speak to him about what he thinks he should be remembered as. His critics say that he was a miss during world peacekeeping, but was successful in implementing the goals for climate change as well. Well, we speak to him and begin by asking him what he thinks the people should remember him as.
While serving as a Secretary General, I've been meeting many political business leaders and even society leaders, civil society. But I have seen just a few leaders who are equipped with the global citizenship. That is why we are now suffering from so many conflicts, so many refugees and migrants and helpless young people, traveling around the world to get a better job. That's a very important message.
Yeah, I'd like to look back into your 10 years as UN Secretary General. Now, you've described them as that you've devoted all your time, passion and energy, but we need to have much more sense of unity, much more sense of solidarity, compassion, and many things have been left unfilled. How would you like people to remember your 10 years as Secretary General?
I can proudly tell you that I had done all my best efforts is because of a lack of a political will of the people who really must be committed to address global challenges with global solutions. But people were not providing global solutions, and people were not showing their global visions. So that is something which I regret very much. Now that we are observing very worrisome circumstances where multilateralism is under attack by those very powerful countries. Multilateralism has been guiding framework of our society, of our world, particularly led by the United Nations. Without multilateralism respected, without global vision, it will be extremely difficult to address many unfilled challenges which we are now facing.
So where do we all go wrong? Because in the start of the century, we saw that it was a very international, multilateral approach that we saw. But since you've taken over and ever since we've seen the turn of the decade, there has been a huge sense of protectionism, huge sense of divide. We've seen the Brexit situation. Are regional organizations still relevant? Where are we going wrong?
Of course, United Nations and multilateralism are still the guiding the framework, absolutely necessary. But this United Nations as well as multilateralism in a broader sense must be supported and cared by the people, particularly by the leaders. And there are many important countries. Those countries should really be the leaders in sending out important messages to the people. This is what I am very much worried. At the same time, as former Secretary General, I've been emphasizing loud and clear that the United Nations should be fully respected. The value and ideals of the United Nations really represent something which all the people around the world can really aspire.
Now, what we've seen is climate change has been a huge point of concern nowadays. Greta Thunberg has come out, young people are speaking out about it. During your tenure, we saw the COP21. And we saw that the world was progressing. But how alarming is this situation? We're seeing conflict being a big threat, but it is natural disasters still dominating.
It's no longer a question whether climate is happening or not, because So many people around the world, not only in developing countries, in most populous, most prosperous countries, like in the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and many places around the world. In Italy, we have seen enough and enough. The evidence of climate change is happening. Climate change is now happening much, much faster than we might have thought. The nature is giving us a strong alarm. And before the rash of nature just destroys us, that we have to do something urgently. And that is why the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has made it again clear, strong warning, that unless we strive hardest way to contain the global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius, then we will have no chance for the future of our succeeding generation. This is a moral and political responsibility, particularly by the world's leaders, political and business leaders, to adapt to changing situation.
Are we getting too distracted by other political developments that we see here in the region? We've seen Iran being a bit of a question mark. Do you think this is an issue that we're shying away from the real problems? And is there a solution to this global peace?
All the current situations and conflicts are coming because of a lack of mutual understandings and mutual respect. There are many countries and many people are coming with a different history, different culture, and different aspirations. But what is more important is that we want to see the leaders of the world more united, more, want more solidarity among the countries and between the countries. The recent conflict between the United States and Iran does not affect only two countries. It will affect very widely, negatively to the overall Middle East situation as well as some global situation. That is why, as one of the elders of this world, I have been very strongly advising them to refrain from further action, de-escalate the situation, and engage in dialogue.
Lastly, concluding with a very important aspect as well. When you left your office, we saw that we had 65 million people displaced. We also saw 113 people, every 113 people left as a refugee and displaced. And there has been no solution to this Syrian issue as well, the migration crisis that we're seeing. Is there an end, Mr. Ban Ki-moon?
There are no actually the boundaries between and among the countries at this time with the transformative development of communication, transportation, that we are living in a small planet Earth. Therefore, we should do all to protect and support those people who are really in need urgent help. Otherwise, they will have no hope, and we will have to see many people will have to die unnecessarily. I'm really again appealing to the world's people, particularly political leaders, to show some compassion for those people. People tend to have only passion for their own country. They're working only for their short-term political gains, but it's not the time for that kind of practices, malpractices. I'm urging world leaders to be more compassionate leaders and look beyond their own countries, how and what we have to do. This is their moral and political responsibility in this 21st century.
Mr. Ban Ki-moon, absolute pleasure speaking to you, and thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you back here in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay, see you again.